Hi everyone, for tonight's Nightcap and review, I'm having a whiskey and diet, and I'll be reviewing Tears of Astoria by J.B. Wright. Now, this is a book I got off of KU on one of those stuff your Kindle days, but of course I'm going to give my honest opinion. These are the tropes, and these are the content warnings. I do want to say I had a little bit of difficulty rating this book for me, but I did land on 3.75. I did enjoy this book. It is a series and leaves on a cliffhanger. I am excited for the next book and seeing where this storyline goes. Now, I will say this was the author's debut novel. And as always, applaud anybody who will put a book together and put themselves out there. That is commendable and should be applauded. But I will say, at times, while this was a very well written book, there were areas where I do think there could have been improvements just a few little tweaks I think could have bumped it straight up to a 4 for me. But again, I did enjoy this book. So what this book is about is the female main character, Ashlyn. I think is how you pronounce it. I did look it online, and that's what it came back as, so that's what I'm going with. She has basically finished and graduated from a type of boarding school, finishing school, and is now leaving this place to basically go to her new home. She's not going back to her home. She's actually going to the home of her betrothal. She has an arranged marriage set up with this gentleman named Wright. Their families have been close, I think, since their grandfather's age, and it has always been like the grandfather's dreams to merge the families, and this is the generation that's going to make it happen. Thankfully, they actually are in a good situation where they have played and known each other all their lives. They like each other and they care about each other, even if they don't love each other. But she recognizes that in her situation as a highborn lady, this is the best she's going to get. Unlike most of her women of her age and her station, she knows and cares about the person, so she's better off than most. As she starts to settle into her betrothal's family estate to prepare for her marriage, get comfortable with her new station that she will be gaining by this marriage, she starts to explore the house and the estate and starts to realize there are whispers and secrets within this family, within this house, within the walls, and she starts to get curious. As she starts to explore the house and try to figure out these mysteries, she starts to get closer to one of the servants that I believe his name was DeLuca, or I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And the thing is, as she gets to know him, she's right from the moment she meets him, she feels like she's known him her whole life, or at least known his eyes. She suffers from horrible night terrors, but even in these night terrors, there are always these eyes that eventually show up, and the dreams basically disappear, and those eyes are his eyes. So as they grow closer, or as close as they can be, considering their different stations, he actually starts to open her eyes to not just what is going on within the castle, but the walls that she doesn't really leave, but also what is going on outside of it, and the disparity between the classes, especially in that area, which basically is suffering from really bad environmental and economic issues. As she opens her eyes and starts to realize what the average person is going through in the kingdom, she realizes that there is a revolution that is gaining traction against highborns like herself in the kingdom, who want to basically do away with the classes and do away with the monarchy by any means necessary. But if having to deal with a revolution for a new social order wasn't enough for them to contend with, they are also having to deal with the fact that what they thought to be myths when it came to the gods may in fact be truth, and they may be central players to these myths, and they are now having to fight for their lives in a different way that they never expected. So what are my thoughts on this book? Well, again, I am giving it 3.75. I did enjoy the book, and I do plan to read the next one. I do think with this being the author's debut novel, it was very well written in the fact that it was very smooth writing style, very well done, and very easy to read. I did enjoy it. I found it to be a very easy page turner of a book. But I will say at times it felt a little one note. Even when they're dealing with these bigger issues in the book, it just felt like they weren't necessarily getting deep into it. You're not reading about the struggles that have necessarily like really deep into the struggles of what they're having to do, what they're doing as they do it, and how they feel after they've done some of these really dangerous acts. It just seems at times that while they don't solve these things quickly. They do solve them easily, and even if it means unaliving someone, they don't struggle with the issue afterwards. It's just, okay, I did this, and now we're on to the next task. So I think those were somewhat missed opportunities to really add depth to the characters and the storyline, to see them struggling with these things. But I will say, especially when it came to the female main character, Ashlyn, you do see real growth from her, from a naive, highborn lady who is very ignorant to the social economic issues going on around her. She did try to push back at times, but she is very much sheltered. So you do see her growth into becoming more aware of the situation around her, and eventually even having to fight and be a warrior and do what needs to get done to protect those that she cares about. So you definitely see real growth from her. But in the end, I did enjoy this book, and I do recommend it, especially if you're looking for an easy to absorb fantasy book that doesn't have huge world building, that has great character development from the female main character, and has a very interesting plot line. I am interested to see what happens to these characters and where it goes. So I do think this is a good book that many people would enjoy. It is currently available on KU, so give it a chance and give it a download, and I hope everyone has a good night and happy readings.